right, everybody, we're going to get started. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody, welcome. Kathy, if you could do roll call, please.
You got it. King.
Present.
Pugh.
Present.
McDonald.
Here.
Galogly.
Here.
Deskin.
Here.
Bergbauer.
Here.
Bartleson. Here. Saban. Present. We have a quorum.
All right, Police Chaplain Ernest Jones is here to open us up.
Creator of the whole world. First we say thank you for all of your blessings. Thank you for being our protector. Thank you for being a very present help in a time of trouble. Thank you for watching over our city. Thank you for keeping us from hurt, harm, and danger. We ask you to come in this meeting today, Father God. Lead in God with your ultimate wisdom. In the name of Jesus, amen.
All right, thank you.
Amen. Yes. Mayor, would you like to say a word about Bill Maloney's?
I would, yeah. So, really sad news. Bobby Maloney, Bill Maloney's wife, passed away unexpectedly, and that's a hard blow for the family, of course, and it really sad news. She will be having a memorial service will be for her on March 21st over at O'Neill from 4 to 8. So I certainly don't want to go over there, and a lot of you guys know Bill, and obviously comforting him and Maureen and all. So it's a really sad moment for everyone. Just kind of, I guess, jumping a little bit to our liaison reports. Anybody have anything? Pat?
Yeah, I've got a liaison report from Finance. We are introducing Joe Costello in a new position, building maintenance. Joe was with us for a while doing meter stuff. He went away and got his HVAC credentials and then worked for another company in building maintenance. And now with the addition or replacement of the building here with an HVAC system and all the controls that it has. So we kind of went off and got mentored, come back, and we got a more skilled person. And then we have a few other facilities which will also be taken care of as well. So hopefully we can save maintenance costs by having a guy on staff, and I'm sure Joe will do well.
Very good. Anybody else got anything?
I have two things from Public Works. A little bit later, we're going to be discussing the wastewater treatment plant. So Brian would like to say, I am pleased to announce that the non-potable water project at our Division Street wastewater plant was substantially completed earlier this year. Following our first full month of operation, we observed a decrease in our potable water usage by 76%. This equates to a reduction of approximately 7,000 gallons of water per month, which will result in annual savings of nearly $840,000. Second, in a follow-up to our last meeting, the City Public Works Department conducted water quality tests in the homes of 5 residents. The on-site results confirmed that all 5 locations complied with the established water quality standards. It was noted, however, that while all sites are equipped with water softeners, 3 out of the 5 could benefit from adjustments to further enhance water softness within their households. So if you wanted that information passed along.
Yeah, very good. And some of and then on a deeper level, the tests that go a step further than hardness and are still out. So they should be back for the next meeting. These are the ones that have a whole list of stuff that they test for. There's arsenic, cadmium, chromium, cyanide. I mean, there's a whole list that lab looks for. So we should have those results for the next meeting. And also there'll be some new ones that are coming out. I know the state and the feds are looking at doing PFAS, right? So that's the new one. And also, I think lithium will be added to that list. So and some of those, I think they finally made a decision on what they think is the toxic level for PFAS, which is essentially like 3 parts per billion or trillion, 3 parts per trillion, which if it were a scale, if the scale were from here to the moon, that would be the height of a penny off of the earth. That's how small of PFAS they, are looking for in our water, even though you can get PFAS from suntan lotion, yoga pants, and a bunch of other things. It's kind of bizarre that they're going to, so anyways, that's aside. But other stuff like lithium will also be.
Can I comment on that?
Please.
Thank you, Brian, for going out to those homes the day after the meeting. I mean, it really shows the citizens, residents, how responsive we can be if you bring it here first. So the next day, we went to these homes who were expressing concerns, took water samples. We did find a few that had their water softeners not set right. I believe that will take care of a lion's share of the problems that they're having. There were a few other, FYI projects gone awry that I think we solved and got them on the right path. So again, come to us first, let us help you. And again, thanks, Brian, and your team for going out the very next day and taking the water samples and moving that along. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Anybody else got anything? Renee, I think you have something.
Just real quick, just a reminder that Restaurant Week is still going on through March 9th. There is free valet parking Fridays and Saturdays. There are at least 19 participating spots. I've been to a few so far, and everything's been awesome. Just remember to mention Restaurant Week and support local.
In the Valley, you're still open Friday and Saturday night. I would like to add, Mayor, is that the spring digital newsletter is out. It's on Facebook, it's on our website, and it'll soon be in our water bills, I think. So it's nice information for coming in the spring.
Okay. All right, then, everybody?
Did you want to say anything about the street names?
Yeah, I'll do it after we do the proclamation, like, towards new business, so they could be set it up for it, but.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's everything, then, very interesting times, what everyone's here for tonight, for the most part. Might be somebody else out there for something else, but, it's the 50th anniversary of our Lockport Historic Preservation District, and also the National Register that our downtown was put on. It's really unusual, right? Oftentimes you see homes were put on there, like, like Pullman's house or something like that, but, we had a whole district set aside for it. And it was driven by John Lamb. I think he was one of a historian in town that, many people here know and are familiar with. He was a great guy, lovely, was responsible for everything from getting old canal days started to, the preservation district, even working together with Lewis. He was a professor at Lewis, and which has always been a great partnership that we've had, across the valley here with the university, and it's really exciting. It is our face. We're the city of historic pride, and I always love telling the story of when I first met Roger Clare 12 years ago, and he said to me, he's like, "So you're the new mayor, huh?" He goes, "I'm going to tell you something, and I've told this to every mayor for the last 4 times." I said, and they never listened to me. "First thing you need to do is bulldoze that old downtown of yours. Nobody shops like that. You need to build one of these promenades like I have here." Right? So I said, "Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. Any advice I can get, but we are the city of historic pride, right? Not the city of knock it down and push it in a landfill." So it's always been exciting to be part of this town and its identity that it has, and it is different. And so very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for all the people in this room that have upheld that. We're part of the start of it, have been, we've got folks here from the Heritage and Architecture Commission, we've got Main Street folks, we've got the Will County Historical Society, former folks that worked for the city that were integral for all this. Thank you, everybody, for just your work in maintaining this and keeping our identity. So we'll make a proclamation, and I was going to go down here and hold up something for that Sandy brought with us. So Sandy said, this is the state of Illinois and the United States Department of Interior National Park Service announced the listing of Lockport Historic District on the National Register of Historic Places. So this has been hanging at the Historical Society for many years, along with the Lincoln Rose and other great things that Sandy likes to bring out. She caught me napping on William Whitney's couch one time. I got in trouble. But thank you for bringing this out tonight. I appreciate it. But all right, we'll do a proclamation. Turn the mic on. All right. Whereas on March 17th, 1975, the city of Lockport established the Lockport Historic Preservation District by enacting ordinance number 801. This ordinance prioritizes preserving Lockport's historic character through careful consideration of modifications to historic structures. And whereas this ordinance recognizes the significance of maintaining Lockport's historic character by establishing a framework for zoning revisions, property purchases, and careful consideration of improvements to historic properties. And whereas on May 12, 1975, the Lockport Historic Preservation District was registered on the National Register of Historic Places. And whereas for 5 decades, the Lockport Historic Preservation District and the Nationally Registered Historic District have been essential in sustaining the city's unique character, creating community pride, and promoting historic tourism, which continues to contribute to Lockport's cultural and economic vitality. And whereas the Historic Preservation Council, later renamed the Heritage and Architecture Commission by Ordinance 88130, has worked diligently to evaluate and guide changes within both the districts to ensure the long-term protection of Lockport's historic landmarks. And whereas the city of Lockport continues to be committed to historic preservation as a key component of community development and ensuring that future generations can experience and appreciate the city's rich history. Now therefore, I, Stephen Streit, Mayor of the City of Lockport, along with our City Council, do hereby recognize March 17th, 2025 as the 50th anniversary of the Lockport Historic Preservation District and Lockport's nationally registered historic district, and encourage all residents, businesses, and visitors to celebrate the rich history and lasting legacy of this treasured district. So whereas I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the City of Lockport to be affixed this day, March 5th, on the occasion. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, City Council, for upholding it as well, right? I mean, we've, talked many times about, the role of heritage and architecture, and we've all, stuck with it and understood its importance, so thank you, Council. If you guys don't mind, can you guys, everybody come down here today? I think we should get a really great picture of everybody. Everybody up here has been part of this. Please come up. Let's get a really great picture. So 50 years from now, they can pull out that certificate, Sandy, and a great picture of everybody that was here today. So, come on, let's get a really fun picture.
I'm in the back row. I'm the guy that gets stuff done. I don't do photo ops.
So do you have a chicken sandwich today, honey?
Oh, no.
Lewis is not here. Come on up, we need one more picture. I know you were still sitting out there. Ooh, yeah. Sorry, now. Thank you, everybody.
Jonathan got me in trouble.
Wasn't expecting to get my picture taken today. See, and you've got the suit on. You should have been up there.
All right, well, super fun, everyone. All right, so now we'll get into the humdrum of the meetings, right? So looking tonight to have a consent agenda.
Oh, John Lane.
Christina, and was that Renee over there, or Joanne? Sorry,
Joanne.
Couldn't hear you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So for tonight, we're looking for approval of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from February 19th, our regular City Council meeting minutes from February 19th, our 2024 budget amendment, payroll period ending February 16th, the bills through February 25th, professional services agreement with Arcadis to perform the advisory role of the Star Innovation District for $124,400, and the intergovernmental agreement for participation in the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network Program. So we're looking for a motion to approve those.
Second.
All right, Renee and Pat, and may we do a roll call, please, Debbie?
You got it. King.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Uh,
Deskin.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Saban. Yes. Motion passes.
All right, and then we're looking for a motion to approve PW1, which is award the 2025 sidewalk resurfacing safe step in an amount not to exceed $43,600.
So moved.
Darren? Second by Joanne. Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
I have one question. Brian, I was reading a document, it looked like in some cases, they were not going to replace a section of it, but grind it down to eliminate trip hazard, and that saved us some money?
Yes, so what the Safe Step is it's a company that comes in, and what it does, instead of removing two squares, we're taking the trip hazard off, and we're just grinding those sections to lower it down and allow it to, one, it's saving time, and it ends up saving us a lot of money. The program itself identified 580 trip hazards, and this is just in the resurfacing area. So it would be in Regency Square and just across right by the police station, where we're going to be doing the resurfacing streets. So there was 580 trip hazards there. The total of that would have been somewhere around, I think, 238,000. And the cost of this contract is only 43. So we did a small sample of it last year to kind of do it, and I know Ben actually reached out and had his HOA do it throughout his neighborhood. And we actually have it outside City Hall too. There's some of the sidewalk squares just outside as you go to the fountain. There's two squares that you can see what it looks like. So it's a way to cost saves. It allows us to address more trip hazards throughout town versus replacing it and doing it. So it's saving us money, but also we're able to expand the program. So I'll be coming back. They're also looking at our sidewalk program. So everything that we've had residents call in and stuff, we're evaluating those with staff and making sure if we can save it and not have to replace it, let's do it. There are some reasons you do have to, it's too big of a trip hazard, there could be tree roots, stuff like that. So there's sometimes you do have to replace it, but if we can actually, basically, it's almost like shaving it down, it benefits everyone. It reverts the hazard portion of it, but allows us to eliminate that and then save money and get more, so.
How do they restore the texture?
The texture, it goes smooth in those locations, so it
Yeah,
will be
real
a
smooth,
smoother
right?
location. It's just like a saw cut, that you would think, like if you had a depressed curb or something, but they're not like the full side. They're only maybe a foot wide at the, maybe.
Does it make it slipperier?
It would be at that one location. It's really still has, it doesn't have the texture, but neither does concrete. That's once it gets like after
Worn a bit.
10, 15 years, you have worn concrete, it's smooth already. So it's no different than what it is. It's still concrete. It's not like.
You can come to our neighborhood and check them out. The sidewalk squares, there's about 50 of them that were changed.
No, thanks, Ben.
Do we get any,
Hose them down to make some Kit Kats or something, you know?
do we get any appearance complaints for this style?
I was suspecting that, but we did not in my association or my neighborhood, and, you know, they do look a little off when you see them, but then when you walk over them, you're like, oh, yeah, I know why they're doing that, so. And we did do them at City Hall here maybe 2-3 years ago. We haven't had a single complaint, so.
And you ever find that it doesn't last, does it kill the lifespan of it with it exposed differently?
No.
The first time you ever see that, you're like, I didn't realize there's so many giant rocks in cement.
Yeah,
right?
it exposes the aggregate, but doesn't that
But it's
create-
sealed. So it's not like they're putting a sealant on it, but it's not exposing it like when there's a pop in the concrete, you get there and you get water in it, it's still a smooth finish. So it is, I mean, I would encourage walking like that area. I mean, to see it, like, not right now with the weather and snow and everything, but once the weather warms up, it's not a bad, I mean, you see it the day one, within a couple weeks, once the concrete gets to cure a little bit, because it's just like anything, it's fresh. But it's no worse than seeing a brand-new 2 squares of sidewalk with sidewalk that's been there for 60 years. I mean, it stands out like a sore thumb, bright white, you have the restoration, so this eliminates all that. And site residents aren't even inconvenienced because it takes maybe 15, 20 minutes at a site location.
So anything else? No, can we do a roll call, please?
You got it. All right, King,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Saban. Motion passes.
All right, I did have something for new business, and I'm glad our history people stayed around for this, because normally everybody clears out after their event, but I'd like you to hear this and give some input too. So I got a letter from Carl Munson, familiar with his dad, Moon Munson. I get one of these letters where it's like, he was asking that if we could put a street sign up, an honorary street sign for his dad, who did a lot of things for the municipality and such. And I don't know, maybe Darren, you were familiar with that.
That's one name I've never heard of.
Okay, which is, Ron, are you his cousin? Ron's always a cousin of somebody.
Cousin, but I did know him.
Okay.
My dad was a good friend of his, so I do remember him.
Okay.
I think he was my high school, or my grade school teacher.
All right.
Not the son,
Yeah, okay.
Moon Munson?
Carl.
Half moon.
Carl Munson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, I know that when Ron Cornola asked us to do something similar for his father, Gene, who was, did a lot of great things also, we, with some advice and, problems that Ben had in Joliet, where some of it got confusing with the street names that we.
Westcom, comes out and is looking for, 11th Street, and if it's now named, Bob's Way, it gets confusing with the operators and the police department, and chief can comment if he feels similar, but, and then it turns into, like, every week you have another honorary street name for every reverend, teacher, and pal in the town, so it got a little overwhelming. And what we talked to the family on the Cornola ask was, since he was part of Rotary, could we created a street sign for him and put it at Rotary Park, so it's not actually a street sign that's active, or you could do the honorary one where it's brown, not green, and not put it on the actual street corners, you put it near his home or a hill or a park. So I think there's ways to honor them. And do
This is
something.
kind of what I was thinking, and I'd like some of your feedback too, is that I think honoring people, everybody who's sitting here right now has had an effect, an important piece of the city's history, and I think we need to come up with some kind of metric, right? Like, what is the level of it? But perhaps what we do is we can, if people are inclined or they get nominated by some family member, we can make a little plaque and we can put them up in City Hall. We can have a whole wall of people. Like, I know we're going to be ripping some walls out with the HVAC stuff, but when everything's back in, perhaps there's a section when you're walking in through the door, we can put all those kind of things on the wall and just build that community of honoring people who, dedicated their time. And I thought maybe that was a good way, as opposed to, because you hate telling the guy, like, dude, it's a pain in the neck, we don't want to do it, right? I don't want to go that route, but maybe this is a way that's less problematic.
Then everybody can see
Yeah.
it. Do you know?
Like one of those trees. You ever see one of those trees?
Like donor trees are like that, but these are people that put their time and talents, right?
The
So,
other nice thing we did for the family is we made, our street shop, we can control the sign manufacturing. We made 2 signs. We put one up at Rotary Park and we gave one to the family, which was cherished by the son, so.
and if any of you guys think of stuff as, the weeks go on, please, let us.
Replace the sidewalks with a walk of fame, like how.
That's
Yeah,
right, good
that's what I was
start.
thinking. I was thinking that too.
Ron put his handprints out there. Very good. We'll definitely make sure your plaque is the biggest, Ron. Cousin of all, Ron Liff, yes.
Cousin.
All right, well, thanks. If you guys think anything that not as cool as what Ron brought up, but please, just, nothing subtle, but I think there's a direction to maybe do something like that. Thank you. All right, you guys. Any other new business?
I have going back to Public Works. Last year, we gave Civil Tech an award for doing a study down at 9th and State Street. I was just curious, has anything come back to us? Are we looking to move forward with any projects, or What is the status of that?
Yeah, so staff has actually met with them early February. We discussed some of their findings and stuff, and what we came up with some comments and stuff, so right now they're working on our comments. We should get something toward the end of, I think by middle to end of March, we should be getting some more stuff, where then I will sit down with Ben and kind of talk about what their findings are and what we're kind of leaning toward and some solutions. They're looking at some short-term alternatives and maybe some long-term plays that would help benefit the downtown overall and the traffic flow and everything, and kind of help with the trucks, but they are working on it. We're just going back and forth with some of the internal staff comments right now, but it is moving forward. We're not approaching IDOT yet. We're going to make sure everyone's on board before we approach IDOT, and that way we're all at the same level and, agree to what we're going to go with IDOT before we start up that lengthy hill.
So just to be clear, this was the intersection of 9th and State?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this
With
is
the trucks turning and taking
Yeah,
out lights?
this is all the
and
truck
stuff.
turn movements, and how do we allow, since if trucks aren't going to be disallowed from coming down, how can we make them actually function along with pedestrians and our downtown historic? So how do we continue that movement and still not have things get destroyed every?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Okay, thank you.
And that said, if you can check on it, like, one of the things Ben and I had talked about with IDOT, when we had that meeting with the bridge deck when it gets replaced, is when you're when you're driving east over the bridge, there's a queue to make you be able to make a right turn on the Canal Street. And, the thought was, I was talking out loud with IDOT, it's like, in the design of that bridge, is it possible to make the queue a little bit longer and just have trucks that are making right turns on the state take Canal Street and avoid that, because it's one less truck, right? Or path that takes. You would have thought we were asking them to, the Pope to become, convert, a Buddha, right? But it was, but that's just the way they respond to everything. They just stare, right? So, but I think, like, if Civil Tech I'd like to have keep that dialogue going, because
Okay.
it's all in the planning stage right now, right? So maybe it's a good opportunity to take.
Yeah, I'll follow up with them and, share that with them.
Okay. All right, thanks for bringing that up, JR. All right, all good then? All right, so looking for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we got Joanne and Susan, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks a bunch. All right, this is your chance to escape if you don't want to sit there, but you're welcome to stay.
All right, I'm ready if you are.
All right, please.
Okay, all right, roll call. King.
Present.
Pugh.
Present.
McDonald.
Here.
Galogly.
Here.
Deskin.
Here.
Bergbauer. Here. Bartleson. Here. Saban. We have a quorum.
All right, so first thing on the agenda is CA1, authorized construction projects for site improvements, bike path accommodations, wayfinding signage at the 2nd Street Heritage Village.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and members of the council. This was something that kind of came out of the continued conversations with the Flag Committee, and then some experiences that the mayor and I had with 135th Street in Romeoville with the Citgo improvements. And if you recall, they put in the kiosk and some information, I'll run to that, under the viaduct up in Romeoville and 135th to help with wayfinding. We thought we'd love one of these kiosks in Lockport near 2nd Street. And then when we had conversations with Zach, who's here today, and the Boy Scouts, he was looking for some projects to help participate in, and it kind of just, kind of a brain melt of ideas, but we thought, well, let's see if we can't put this together. And the Boy Scouts were going to participate and raise some funds. They would like to have a flag pole installed. We weren't thinking about a flag pole at the time. We were just thinking about bicycle wayfinding and benches. And we were proposing out here on 2nd Street, out near the Heritage Village. and they could do a little fundraising to help with plantings and the flagpole, and we could make some contributions to help bring the concrete in, some benches and some wayfinding along the path. And Zach is here, he's doing a little fundraising, and there's a QR code that I can send around to share with you all, with staff and elected, if you want to participate. But this was a project that we don't expect to exceed $35,000. We haven't gone to bid or anything with it yet. These are just estimates that we think based on the materials that we need to do and order the sign. But this will be a nice amenity along with all the other improvements along the canal. And we're seeking approval to install this kiosk and benches and some bike stands and now additionally a flagpole with our city flag on it.
I'd like to, I'm sorry, I didn't talk to you about
Yeah.
this ahead of time, and I don't mean to throw a wrench in this, but can we also add, possibly consider little duck feeder like things where you put a coin in and you get to feed the ducks? I mean, we are close to the canal, and there are little ducks there.
Okay.
What, is this so funny?
No one's laughing.
We can probably include a little dog waste pickup bag holder too. We can add a few minor amenities. We'd be happy to add that, yeah.
What, did Sandy leave? I was going to ask her if she had any thoughts.
Well, we did discuss with the Historical Society, originally, we were going to put the kiosk in the patio as you see where it is. As I mentioned, that was kind of a thought and plan we had, and then once we talked to the flag committee, we were going to try to put it closer to the guard shack where the entrance is, but the Historical Society, was a little leery of the bicycle amenities and things as part of their historical footprint, so they preferred that it stayed out here by 2nd Street, and that worked out just perfectly fine in the design. So,
Okay, good, so this had their feedback.
yeah, we asked Sandy to weigh in on it.
All right, very good.
So this would be seeking approval of Resolution 25026 for either consent or action on the next meeting. Oops.
Everybody,
I had a couple questions on that.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's some roof, I know they have the one roof, the one that shows from like the facade, but then there's like an upper roof too, that is not, we should not be using that for a facade, correct, a roof?
What?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were on the.
Which one?
Oh,
Still on
sorry.
this project.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Different project?
Next one, sorry.
Next
I thought we were.
Oh, on the
Yeah.
facade grant. You're good with the bike grant.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, consent on this.
all right, friends.
Like, actually, can we get trees in there too? Like, I'm just thinking, like, if you're in the middle of summer and it's hot as, like, really hot, there's no
Yeah.
shade anywhere
can-
around there. And
we can find ways to
I
put
can
more
appreciate
trees.
that you don't want to impact the historical area, but I think you'd want people to stop there. But if we have to stop up by 2nd Street, can we put some thought into providing shade or planting
Yeah,
trees?
there's an existing tree there and some utilities, but I think we could find some room to try to add a tree.
Yeah, with the flagpole, the originally proposed, when the flagpole was moved, we did have, there's an existing tree, but we could easily put another one or two farther out. We just don't want to get too close to the flagpole, obviously. So in that corner, it gets tight, but we could probably look at, and there's some ComEd overhead, so we could look at putting maybe one or two more out there for you. So.
All right, so are you guys okay with, you want to do a consent on this?
Yes.
Like,
Okay. All right, CD1. What do you got, Kimberly?
I'll be presenting that tonight, covering for Lance Teese tonight. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, there is a case for a facade grant. The applicant, Richard Tisch, is the owner of Will County Loan Company. He's requesting funds through the city's facade and site improvement grant program to replace the mansard-like facade for the property located at 1111 East 9th Street. The applicant is eligible for $8,171.64, which is the maximum amount allowed based on the lowest quote, which is $16,343. To date, the city council has approved $43,790 of the total $100,000 that is budgeted for 2025. Upon approval of this request, roughly $48,000 will be available for the remainder of 2025. Staff recommends approval of the facade grant request in the amount of $8,171.64.
Did you have a question?
Yes, so sorry. This is where my question was. It looks like, according to the estimate, that there's two parts of it, the mansard, and then there's also a top roof, which should not be covered under the facade grant, the roof, but the mansard should. But, and then my other question is, it looks like, I'm just curious if there was a claim against this, because it's, on one of the estimates, it says claim information from State Farm, so.
So I could probably shed some light on the first question that you have. So anything that is visible from the street, so typically a roof would not be eligible. But this is more of a facade because it is actually not connected to the actual roof. So it's a facade piece that is attached to the building, and it is visible from the public right-of-way. Now, that is the basis of how that was reviewed. I'm not sure if the applicant is here tonight. Maybe if they are, to answer the second question, because I'm actually not sure if this was a claim.
Could have been a claim that was denied, but we can leave it as action and try to follow up with the petitioner before next week.
You done, Sue?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's just, in the Mueller roofing, there's two quotes to it. It's the upper roof that's sloped, and then there's the mansard. And it's broken down in two separate categories, so that's why I'm wondering if it's just the mansard or if it's the mansard plus the sloped roof. So, just a question for Lance.
Yeah, I had a question. Looks like the facade, if we're just doing the Tisch building, it looks like the buildings to what would be the east of that have the same material. Are we doing the whole strip mall or just his building?
He owns the whole building.
I think he owns all of it.
And he owns them all. It's the same owner. I don't know how far the scope of the grant.
But are we doing just his building, or are we going to continue on all the way to?
You're talking about the lower part, yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what's included or not. We can
The thing
find
that
out.
concerns me is now you're going to do his part. It's going to have different material. It's going to have a different tone, color, which is going to make it look weird to the other piece, like you did half a renovation. Not that I'm looking to spend more money, but I was just concerned or.
Do you have any images of like what the,
I would assume we're doing the whole building.
Unfortunately, this is the only image that
it seems
we have.
low for the dimensions.
Well, it was $16,000 for, and we were giving him half, I think.
Yeah.
But that, I think those are like asphalt shingles on the front of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you guys want, we can either,
Let's just get the questions asked.
Yeah.
Have it come back committee whole next time.
Sure.
okay, so put it back on committee of the whole with those questions.
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm not opposed to it, but those are good questions.
All right, so we'll do that, as Tish to this,
We can do that.
quantify, so thank you. All right. And then, so you got that, Kathy? We're gonna just bring that back to committee of the whole. All right, and then next is CD2, what else you got, Kimberly?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The next item is a PZC case. The petitioner, Eric Coons, on behalf of Shelby LLC, is seeking approval of development plans for a daycare facility known as Kitty Academy. The development will be located on Lot 5 of Rose Lockport Center, Unit 2. There's a plan illustrated on your monitor. The plan illustrates a 10,485 square foot commercial building with a 6,155 square foot outdoor playground and parking lot with 27 new parking spaces. Adequate parking, landscaping, lighting, and sidewalk connections are proposed. Next, architectural elevations are displayed. The building elevations are in conformance with the city's design standards. The development plans were presented to the Plan and Zoning Commission on February 11th, 2025. The commissioners asked questions related to peak hours and parking. The applicant responded to their questions and shared that they anticipate approximately 150 students and approximately 30 employees. The commission asked if the parking would be sufficient, and the applicant assured the commission that there would be plenty of parking as their facility offers all-day drop-off and pickup times, which minimizes parking conflicts. So the commission voted in favor of the request and recommended approval. Also, the applicant, Eric, he's here tonight, and he brought with him a kind of a small-scale model of the site. You want to?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's like our first model.
This is our first one.
Besides me.
Ever.
See everybody here, I know, should just right here.
We can pass it down.
Gonna pass it around? We move things around?
Let's see this tree.
Beautiful.
That's actually from our engineer, Space Scope, Joe Antonelli over there.
Oh.
I can't take credit for such a nice piece of work.
A lot of trees on there, Jonathan.
Did we have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Talking to you after the meeting.
Does this academy have a bus service to bring kids in there? Or is it all just parents bringing their kids, dropping them off?
I better bring the tenant here, who
Okay.
knows the operations much better than I do. This is Chris Gron.
Hey, Chris.
So there is no privately chartered buses or anything along those lines. However, we do look to work with the local school districts and become a registered stop for before and after childcare, so that parents can drop off at one location, kids get to school, and really young kids get to stay in there and be taken care of. So it's kind
So-
of a mixed answer.
So you offer after-school daycare?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we currently have a location in Lamont, and that one, based on community feedback, we operate from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
Lines up with the metro schedules and the local schedules for people getting to where they need to be. So for that, yeah, if you have an early morning commute, you drop your kid off early in the morning. Most people don't take advantage of 12 hours of coverage because it's a long time to be away from a kid and a long time for kids to be away from family. But yeah, we see it kind of staggered throughout the day. And we've got about 4 years of experience at the Lamont location with similar kind of traffic flows and patterns and lot size.
Second question I have, looks like you're behind Panda Express. So where do you see, and I see in your drawing here, there's a street that's not finished, but then you keep going on that street and you end up in the gas station. Where do you see the people coming into your facility? At which entrance are they going to come in and go out? I realize that, but that looks like it's not finished yet. And I'm worried a little bit. I like the idea, and I think the people behind it will be happy that there's a buffer there that will eliminate some of the noise behind it, but it just popped into my head after looking at this.
Right.
Farrell's a pretty busy street right there.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. The drive that are you talking about the main drive, or are you talking about the drive that goes into the subject property?
How do they get onto the, you got the Pagoda or Panda Express, you can cut through their lot, or you can go further.
Right, so we see most of the traffic coming in from Farrell, going west into the subject property on the, I guess that would be the north side, coming around, dropping the children off, and then going out, either they can go out south, or they'll just come back through Panda, back out to Farrell.
Okay.
So it's not going to have its own egress and egress?
Well, it kind of has to share a little bit with what's in front.
Yeah, because it's in the back, but, yeah.
Okay.
But it's, the traffic will flow, I guess that
So the
would.
main traffic will be from Farrell?
I was
Correct.
thinking this was going to be turned.
Yeah, that's really the only entrance into that property right now.
Right now, right.
And then that north one that dead ends, obviously that's for future
That's
road.
for- exactly,
Okay.
Mayor, that's right. So, I mean, down the road, if that gets developed to the north, possibly a road that'll, we've already got a cutout for that, and then that could come in from the north.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, like I said, it provides a buffer to Clover Ridge, deadens some of the sound that goes back there, but like I said, it just popped into my head. The only concern I have is the 150 students, more than likely, they're not carpooling, so you're going to end up with a fair amount of, he's got an answer.
They do carpool.
Okay.
Most people are dropping off anywhere, there's one kid, that's a possibility. But we often see families of 2 or 3 individuals, because that's the point where you can't rely on, family members or other folks to help kind of provide that childcare for you. So we see usually 2 to 3, the average family size for dropping off during that.
Okay, cool.
So,
Chris, thanks for coming in tonight. What's the mix in Lamont of kids that are like preschool? Or, that wouldn't be taking advantage of kind of the before and after school care?
Sure thing. So the before and after school care is, we'll say a dozen, 2 dozen kids. It depends on programs and things in the season too, because sometimes during the summer there's more after school programs, therefore having that care becomes a real big benefit for them. That building has a capacity of about 171 kids. We're at about 90% capacity.
Okay.
I would say we probably have maybe a dozen kids on the after-school side.
Okay.
Now, with that said, the Lamont School District there also has after-school care programs that are excellent and provide great services. So it's one of those things where we're able to provide it. We're trying to augment and assist versus, try and take away from those programs.
Or to provide a convenience of being able to pick your kids up at one spot.
It's very much a convenience. We're there to help provide it, but we also work closely with them to help make sure that, everything's being handled properly logistically wise for them.
All right, thank you.
You said that you worked it out with the schools to have that be a bus stop.
Correct.
So I think feeding that is probably 3 or 4 grade schools, so that's kind of a...
So, again, that kind of depends on the bus routes and how they lay things out. Right now at Lamont, we have 2 buses or so in the morning, and then 3 buses staggered out throughout the afternoon and later evening. I say 4 o'clock's about the latest that we'll see a bus come by. Of that, we'll see anywhere from 3 to 10 kids getting on or off. So the nice thing is by working with the busing company and the school districts, they can kind of say, hey, it actually makes sense for us to consolidate these kids over here since they're going to this common area, and kind of reduce the number of buses that are unique that might be going in and out of that area. It's a discussion and a balancing act, but.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, at some later point, will it get so busy that you're gonna have to maybe put in a street light or something like that? It just seems like there's gonna be so much traffic.
Fantastic question. The nice thing is that everyone's schedules, especially post-COVID, has varied quite a bit. We don't see like a 9 o'clock rush. So if you look at a restaurant, you'll have a dinner rush or maybe a lunch rush where you have a kind of defined hour or two where everyone's trying to get in and out. Not so much with childcare, because you may have someone that's able to start work around 9 a.m. and so they're coming in 8:30 to drop kids off, whereas folks that are coming in at 6:30, they've dropped off. In general, our staffing and kid handling practices are ramping up in the morning, starting at 6:30 with 1, maybe 2 classrooms open, and that's 10 to 20 kids at most. And then by about 9 o'clock, we're kind of seeing most of the kids there, but then we have folks that come in the afternoon for after, a half-day care. We have Tuesday and Thursday offerings, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So this all kind of breaks up, and it really does spread out across the area. Yes, peak traffic will probably be around the 7:30 to 8:30 sort of time frame. You'll see a little bit more, but you'll see more at a restaurant or a drive-through for a lunch rush than you'll ever see going into the child care facility.
You think that the traffic there is going to be controlled? I mean, it just seems like a lot of traffic going in and out,
Not really. I mean,
It's staggered.
drive-throughs probably have several hundred per meal.
Yeah.
This is a third of that.
I mean, if you consider, we'll say 80, 90 families dropping off across the span of the day, 2 visits or so, it's a drop in the bucket compared to drive-through traffic that you'd see, or the Aldi traffic that's in that area. So we shouldn't be seeing a huge change And I think there was a couple studies that were done previously to help make sure that we're within the lines of that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the little ones, though, I think the parents come in with their children, don't
They do, but, so we streamlined the process, because again, we want it to be as convenient as possible. So we'll have 1 to 2 check-in machines, so people can get in during the colder months. We allow people to get right into the building, check in, check out. We do not do something where they're parking in front of the building for drop-off, because we don't want to block any fire lanes. But the idea is they go into the parking lot, they rock the kid in, and they're out within a couple minutes, so real quick turnover on that.
Hey, Ben.
If we can find a safe catapult to allow the kid to be launched into a netting in the, oh, sorry. No, but, next year, no.
Hey, Ben.
Pat, Pat has a question. What's the question, Pat?
The Farrell Road, if you're going to have people heading north on Farrell and then making a left-hand turn into the property, we'll probably have to make a queue lane there so people can pull into that center to make a left-hand turn into the property. I think right now the only thing we have is over by Culver's.
You can also get there from the light at Aldi as well.
Yeah, around the backside.
I believe there is a stall in the middle there, because I turn into Jewel all the time, and it's a suicide lane.
Yeah.
So, pardon me, alternating turn lane. An engineer would call them alternating turn lanes. There's already painted alternating
Okay.
turn lanes.
Yeah, I didn't remember how far it went, but that's a paint stripe, so, yeah, that's
They
fine.
just redid it for Bandit.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
resurface Farrell a little bit.
All right, cool.
No, I mean, I just meant the paint, the stripes. It wasn't the city that did it. There was just guys running around in there
With the paint can?
grinding the paint. It was nuts, but.
All right, you guys get any more questions on this? Are we good with a consent, or do you need an action?
Consent.
Okay, consent it is. Very good. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Nice tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, PW1. What do we got, Brian?
Let me get that. Yes, this one is for well house 6 and 13 rehab. We reached out and had our engineering enterprises to submit a Phase 2 proposal for design. The 2 well houses, the ones located just off of Cedar Road is well 13, and then south on Gauger is well 6. These 2 were originally given to another consultant. It started back in 2022. They kind of got through with 13. When we were getting close to bidding, the actual cost estimates were well over what was budgeted. So the project got held. We ended up pushing it back. We ended up combining it with well 6 and 13, and then 6 just never really got going with the consultant. So after a little bit of time, we basically decided I talked to the consultant and reached out to a second consultant who's a little bit more specialized in this area, and they're going to take over the project. They're taking the work that was already done in 13 for well 13 and combining it with what they'll be doing in 6. So even though we paid the consultant for 13's work, they're going to use that, combine it with the work that they'll be doing, and basically we'll be able to, we're not really losing the money, we're just going to be able to move the project and actually get these 2 projects completed and actually, hopefully within a timely frame. So this is for approval of resolution number 25-021 to accept the proposal from Engineering Enterprises in the amount of not to exceed $89,386 for well 6 and well 13 filter treatment plant rehabilitation.
All right. Any other questions then? You guys okay with consent? All right. Yeah, no.
Will this project create or improve the flow off of those wells?
No, this is actually doing the.
It's just up top?
It's all, yeah, it's doing the well house itself, not the actual wells.
Okay.
It'll be the well houses themselves, the interior.
But they are low-producing wells, or some of the lower-producing wells in the city, right?
Well, 13, yeah, I mean, on the map, they
Is
don't.
that still pretty
yeah.
good, like 400 to 600 is still pretty?
Yeah, well,
Respectable amount?
6 is really, well 6 is needed for pressure more than actually the production, because of the distance from it. We actually use, well 6 never really shuts off. To keep pressure to our southern portion, we need well 6.
Gotcha.
So in well 13 or 12, one of them is always on. So those 2 wells kind of stabilize that side of our town, because most of the other wells, as you can see, is more to the north. So as we come down there, we need those for pressure.
And then based on the water model that we get back, we may be able to get better information about how
Yeah, the
best
water
to-
model is going to show some other things that'll come out of it to
Yeah.
try to stabilize pressure throughout.
Cool.
That I don't want to go in details right now, but yeah,
Yeah.
there is some other things that'll come out of that report once we get it. And it'll show how to hopefully operate, where we don't have to operate the wells, we can provide some other mechanisms to do pressure.
Great, thank you.
All right, you guys give a consent? Oh, we already said yes. All right. All right, PW2, what else you got, Brian?
All right, this one is, it's a really big thing, excuse me. This is for approval of resolution number 25-025 and resolution -25-023 to accept the task orders for Division Street wastewater treatment plant Phase 3 construction services from Thomas Engineering in the amount not to exceed $2,009,400, and Baxter Woman in the amount not to exceed $1,720,315. Part of the IEPA loan application and process that we're going through, they kind of want to show readiness to allow us to proceed with the loan. One of the things we've been working with through design is trying to get the plans to, get to IEPA, get approval from them with the permitting process, which they have done. And another way to get points is, and be able to show that we're ready, is to have a Phase 3 construction contract. Normally, I come to you when we're ready to, we just got a contractor out, we got the project, and then we're coming in with the Phase 3 together. The IEPA likes to show that the cities and municipalities are actually ready and are willing to put forth the effort to kind of keep moving the project. So this one gives us more points so that when we submit in late March, later this month, we can actually say that we do have the Phase 3 contract ready to go, and we have a permit, so we're checking all the boxes so that we get the highest point ratings that we can. What they're going to be doing is Thomas Engineering will be our main consultant. They're going to be providing the project management, the lead engineer, and secondary construction inspectors if needed, and the quality insurance. So they'll be providing the testing for concrete and other material testing and stuff like that services. Baxter Woman, who is our design consultant currently, they're going to be providing, doing the shop drawings, the submittal reviews. Since they designed everything, they're a little bit more familiar with everything, so they'll kind of save us time on that review process. They are actually going to provide a secondary resident engineer who's worked at our treatment plant through the design and also on the first phase that was done a few years ago. And then we're going to be they'll also do the review of the maintenance and procedurals manuals and provide a certified Class 1 wastewater operator to basically train the staff and do all the startup with the contractor, make sure everything is working. So with the combination of these two, we're basically protecting our interests and the amount of money that we're going to be spending in this. I think this forms the best team that I could get together between two engineering firms to make sure we have the best people and the best people managing the project, but also reviewing the plans and everything we get. So we are actually saving money, keeping on schedule, and getting a project complete as quick as we can.
Brian, quick question. This was in our packet tonight. It says revised 3/3/25. Is the document that's in our tablet that was given to us on Friday, does that match the document we have in front of us?
No, there is a change in that. The only change really that comes out, the dollar amount's the same. Everything costs and everything in there. When they originally submitted it, and because of having to get it on the two councils, they had to re-edit it. The IEPA requires certain language within there, so they had to add that language.
Okay.
So after reviewing and comparing the two, even though that the agenda went out to you guys, is that we ended up wanting to make sure that you guys saw the true documents that will be signed. So they just added it, it's in both documents, it's just a section, if you look, that is if you turn to, let me see the page. It's for the IEPA portion of it, it is, do they have page numbers? It'd be the page 5.
Page 5.
The IEPA compliance. And that verbiage was needed and required by the IEPA, and it goes all the way to basically the scopes of service. Those would be the same language you're going to see in both contracts, and it's just required by the IEPA so that.
Got it. Okay, cool. Ben, is there any way that you can take this document and replace it in here, so if we go back?
It's already been. So when it went out on Friday, you had the original document. We updated it on Tuesday morning, and Donna pushed it back out. So if you refresh your download, it will be there. And anyone at home watching and clicking on the website today, it will be there. And we just wanted to make sure that you all had the written copy, and then committee of the whole, so then when it comes back, it will all be the same.
Thank you guys for being so thorough, appreciate it.
All right, friends.
I got a question. Thomas Engineering was involved in the Briggs Street lift station. I just wondered if you could tell me your confidence level in them, or, tell me a little bit about why we're going with them.
Yeah, Thomas Engineering was the consultant that's doing Phase 3, and they weren't the design engineer on the project, but they have actually helped us through, and as we all know that the project had some rough starts with a contractor not being able to do it. We had to go back and forth with that. We ended up having now Aries, a high-performing contractor, do it, and the work level has been progressing a lot faster. Thomas has been very professional, very thorough, and has managed the project to do the best they could, even though there was a contractor at the time that was non-responsive. So with the contractor removed, with Aries in, that project is moving at a faster rate, and that's what kind of led me to kind of combine these two teams. Their upper management was very detailed in being able to run the project out there. So bringing them in as the high and the lead of it, and having Baxter Women's knowledge of the design portion of it, and teaming those together will make us not have to have someone learn the project again. They'll shop drawings and all that is going to get done over here and with the same engineer that was designing it. So it'll help speed up the process and get through reviews and turnovers for the contractors a lot faster.
So you're comfortable?
I am very comfortable, yeah.
Resumes in here, credentials.
All right, everybody, you guys want to do consent?
Yeah, real quick, it's important to mention, it looks like a giant number here, but Brian reminded me that it's a pretty small percentage. It's like 8% of the total project cost, so I got sticker shock looking at it. I was like, wow,
It's a big project, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to say too, just to make it, it is in here, but it is all covered in the loan. The loan, we went out for the $60 million loan. Phase 2 engineering, Phase 3 engineering, and construction is all encompassed in that $60 million. So this was already part of what was budgeted for and designed. So when the project comes in, it's like, they're hoping for around 52 million. So we should be within there with the Phase 2 and the Phase 3. We should be right in there with the cost that we have for the total $60 million.
All right, we good with consent? All right, consent it is. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for the good, thoughtful questions.
I have a miscellaneous new business. Is the meeting with Homer Glenn still on for tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. In the past, and it's only supposed to be staff, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the past, they have brought elected officials with them to meetings that were only supposed to be staff, and then we were not represented as elected officials here. I think that should they show up with an elected official that we should have an elected official there tomorrow. So, and in any future, because it's directly related to what we just talked about, the improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. So I'm just throwing it out there. I've worked on this for, I don't know, 7, 8 years, so I'll be available tomorrow.
I think that's a good idea.
Are you talking about an elected official where I wasn't the other elected official there?
No, they had a trustee there.
Why can't you just ask the guy not to be there?
We did. We've confirmed that it's staff, engineering, and finance, and the attorneys.
Okay.
All right.
As long as I don't have any problem if it's just staff.
No, we've asked, that was kind of the whole thing we've been doing with them, is like, let your people talk to our people, so that way we've removed any political considerations out of it, and we just had professional staff working on it. So I think for the most part, it's been the way we've been so far, but yes, in the past, we've had somebody pop in, so, yep, keep us posted, that's different. All right, thank you.
Are we hosting it, or is it over in Homer?
We're going to Homer.
All right, friends, nothing else? Then motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.